And start recording.
All right, great. All right, so now we'll go with introductions. So my name is Ashley. I am the Outreach and Admission Coordinator here at Code the Dream, based out of Chicago, and I've been at Code the Dream for about 3 months now. Mary Alice, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Alice Moore. I'm the class coordinator, so I handle a lot of the administrative duties with onboarding students into class and processing them at graduation, among other things. I've been with Code the Dream for, gosh, almost 5 years now, and I was a student, then an intern, then a volunteer, then an employee. So I've worn all of the hats and can help with any questions along the way.
All right, I said alumni. It was going to be two, but I guess we do have three, Mary Alice. We're going to include you. And also, we do want to introduce also Medell and Kiri, if you guys just want to wave or whatnot, but they'll talk more towards the student panel, of course. All right, so we'll just get started. So, at Code the Dream, our mission here is one to create opportunities that change lives. So, here we primarily serve those in underserved communities and also lower income, to take them from maybe not knowing too much about coding or nothing at all the way into a high paying job as software developers. So, we look to create those opportunities to build a long, sustainable career in the field of tech. All right. And then we also look to build technology that benefits our communities, and that's through our Code the Dream labs that I'll talk about in a few. And lastly, we look to support the diversity that drives a more just and innovative world. So the tech field isn't as diverse, but at Code the Dream, we look to just funnel more people into the world of tech, so that we can create a more, I guess, inclusive environment overall in technology and change the face of tech in general. All right, so we do that through our free coding classes. So most of you guys here came to learn more about the CTD Learn side. So there are two sides to Code the Dream. But with CTD Learns, we offer free intensive classes in web development. So to qualify for our program, you just have to be 18 years or older and currently live within the United States. That's regardless of citizenship status, but you just have to physically be here in the United States. All right. And then also our program works with, we have 18-week classes. So that's about 4 months. We'll get more into the specific classes in the next slide. But also our classes are taught asynchronously. So it's designed for the adult learner. You will learn in a flexible environment. So you'll watch pre-recorded videos, read different lessons on your own time, and then you'll go on to attend the live sessions, which this is remote, but the live sessions are online. And that's with group mentors and one-on-one mentors, and student-led study sessions as well too. So you'll learn on your own time while also having learning real time with your mentors as well too. So you will have support all throughout the program. And then for CTD Labs, that's when you go a little bit further into our program. But we do provide a real world experience through paid apprenticeships, which means that we'll pay you. Now, this is highly competitive, do want to put that out there, but it is a program where we'll hire you on full time, and pay you to do some projects for clients that we have. So you'll get that real world experience, just I guess building apps and whatnot. So I'll give you a quick stat, but those who go from our intro class all the way through the apprenticeship, 90% of the time their next job is as a career in tech, making an average of $85,000 per year. All right, pretty big. So this gives you a linear view as you can envision yourself in our program, from going from the online application all the way to starting your career as a high paying software developer or just a career in tech in general. So starting from that online application, you'll apply to our classes. That takes about 8 to 10 minutes, not long at all. And then you'll go into our pre-work, which is also a part of the application. So we do the pre-work to help you to we do it to help us and to help you. For us, it's so we can see that you're dedicated to actually learning how to code. Since this is a free program, we want those who are committed to learning how to code. And that pre-work assignment is designed to imitate 1 week's worth of coursework. So we look to see that you dedicate about 15 to 20 hours per week. So it is a part-time program. But for you, you'll you'll do the pre-work basically to see if you can handle that within a week, like 15 to 20 hours dedicating towards our program, but also seeing if you can learn in our environment too. So in that flip learning environment where you'll learn off of pre-recorded videos and complete weekly lessons. But like I said, you also have those mentor sessions throughout the week once you're in our program. All right. But that's our pre-work. So you'll do that. Like I said, a part of your application. And depending on if your pre-work is accepted, you'll be enrolled into our classes. Now you can go right into our intro to programming. Like I said, our classes are a bit intensive, so most people actually end up going into the intro to programming, where you'll learn JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and other core concepts. But also, if you already know a lot about that and also about APIs, you can hop right into our advanced classes. And our advanced classes that we offer include React, Node Express, and then Ruby on Rails. So like I said, our classes are 18 weeks long, so about 4 months. But along with the advanced classes, there is a practicum attached to that as well too. So it's about additional 8 to 10 weeks. Now the practicum is where you'll get that group work experience. So this is experience you could put right on your resume. And you'll work with a small group to build and deploy an app. So it's really exciting. This is something you could talk about in interviews once you go to look for those careers. All right. So right after our practicum, now some people do multiple practicums or multiple advanced classes to expand their skill set, but you can go right into our CTD labs, which I said is highly competitive, but you'll apply, and I explained more about it in the last slide, but you guys know what the paid apprenticeship is, all right? And after the CTD labs, you can see yourself going off and starting that high paying career as a software developer. And like I said, make sure to keep putting your questions in the chat as well too. Mary Alice, did you want me to do this slide?
I sure will. Thanks. Sorry, I got distracted by the question in the chat that I'll be answering in just a moment. So hi, everybody. So the information for classes that are coming up for the summer term, just to give you a breakdown of what those are looking like. The column that's sort of that reddish orange color there, that's IO is the name of the intro class. You don't have to worry too much about the names. We just have fun naming conventions that we use. But the intro to programming class will start on May 22nd, and the end date for it is September 24th. So all of our classes are 18 weeks long. We stagger the start dates a little bit just because with the practicums coming after the advanced classes, they take a little bit more time. So we had to stagger classes in order to get them to align properly for onboarding students. So the intro class runs May 22nd to September 24th. You're going to be learning web development basics, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, like Ashley was mentioning on the previous slide, and learning about APIs, how they work, and just sort of some fundamentals and foundational skills that'll get you ready for the advanced classes. A lot of people usually ask, can I get a job straight after the intro class? Not usually. A lot of times you'll need a little bit more advanced knowledge before you can really get into an internship or an entry level or junior developer role. So the intro class is meant to set you up for success in the advanced classes. And you'll see our 3 advanced classes we're offering this summer there in the yellow columns. We're offering Node.js Express, React, which is also a JavaScript framework, and then Ruby on Rails, which is a backend class that is in Ruby language and uses the Rails framework. All of the advanced classes will start June 12th, so a few weeks after the intro class starts, and they'll run until February 4th of 2025, and that includes your practicum. So if you're doing one advanced class and the practicum that immediately follows it, then you'll finish your advanced class and practicum portion that February 4th date in 2025. So hopefully that answers a lot of questions as far as just what are the summer classes that we're offering. A common question we get often is if you can take React and Node together, since those are both JavaScript framework classes, JavaScript language classes. And we do occasionally allow students to take both classes at the same time, but just be aware, since it's about 15 to 20 hours worth of work for one class with our program, taking 2, you'd be looking at 30 to 40 hours worth of work each week. So as long as your schedule allows it for the duration of June 12th to February 4th, then you're welcome to take both classes if you would like to. Just make sure that you let us know that during the registration process after you've gotten your class offer. We don't allow students to take Ruby on Rails at the same time as one of the other advanced classes because Ruby is a separate programming language from JavaScript. And it's just really intense to try and learn 2 languages at the same time, whether they're spoken languages, coding languages. It's just a lot for our brain to handle. So for that reason, then you can only take React and Node together, or you can take Ruby by itself, or you can take just React or Node by themselves. All right.
Oh, and then I want to add one thing as well too. I know in the previous session, someone asked if the advanced classes, if it's a straight 9 months from June to February. I just want to let you know there is like a small break in there too. So it won't be straight through for the entire 9 months.
Yeah, you do have about a 2 or 3 week break in between. I'm glad you brought that up, Ashley. Thanks. All right, so general class requirements are what we're going to cover next. A lot of applicants are asking what kind of previous knowledge do I need to be able to come into class. For the intro to programming class, it's helpful to be exposed to some basic programming concepts about, like how a language is built, or be familiar with, oh yeah, I know that JavaScript is a programming language, but I don't know how to write in it, or things like that. So having some general knowledge is perfectly good to have. Having familiarity with computer basics, like how to find and organize files on your computer, how to operate your web browser, things like that are all helpful skills to have, but they aren't hard and fast requirements. Anything that you need to know to be able to get through the intro class, you'll be taught that information. So there aren't any knowledge requirements for the intro level class. For the advanced classes, you do have to have JavaScript knowledge for Node and React, because obviously those are built in JavaScript language. So it's helpful to have some comfort in that programming language to start with. And then for the Ruby on Rails class, since you're not using JavaScript language to build it, you don't absolutely have to know JavaScript to be able to do that. But knowing GitHub and APIs and how those are structured is very helpful for any advanced applicants, whether you're in Ruby or in Node or React. So hopefully that helps if you have any questions about what do I need to know going into these classes. All right. The next topic we're going to be covering are going to be what kind of tools you use in the class. For the intro to programming class, just having a simple basic computer is going to suffice for getting the work done. We do prefer that you have a computer over a hybrid tablet like a Chromebook. The operating system that's on a Chromebook is not really what works well for people who are building in development and building code. You can get by with it in the intro class if you absolutely have to. We obviously don't want you to go out and spend $1 gazillion on a new machine. But ideally, if you have access to a basic computer, even if it's a loaner from a friend, even if it's dedicated computer time at a local library, anything like that, that can give you a little bit less frustration than dealing with all of the things that you have to do to get a Chromebook to work well for you as you build code. Reliable internet connection is going to be helpful regardless of whatever class you take with us. So being able to get online to see your class material, to attend mentor sessions on Zoom calls like we're doing right now. And even if you don't have reliable internet at your place of residence, you can always go to an internet cafe or someplace convenient like that to be able to get something that maybe is a little bit more stable than what you've got. For the advanced class tools, having a reliable computer with sufficient RAM is going to really be important. You deal with a lot of files when you're building in those frameworks and tech stacks. So it's extremely helpful to kind of have that have that capabilities on your machine. If you have questions about is what I have sufficient, we do have our website that gives you information on those details here. So I'm pasting that and putting that in the chat right now in case you need to go and check it out. And you'll look in the frequently asked questions section under what kind of computer and software do I need. That'll help answer your questions that are more specific to information there. All right, the next topic we are going to cover are just any other general requirements that we might suggest or recommend. And regardless of any class you're taking with our program, having a commitment to work through challenging lessons and having those 15 to 20 hours a week that you can dedicate to your classwork is really key. It's hard to find time and balance life priorities, but getting yourself on an organized calendar so that way you have time to be able to dedicate and let your mind absorb the information is really helpful. And just having the persistence of getting through. Sometimes when you're dealing with code, you just get frustrated and it can feel a little depressing at times, but there's always those lights at the end of the tunnel and those moments of clarity when you're like, aha, I've got it. It clicks, and it really pays off for all of the challenging moments that you encounter. Moving on to our next steps information. So the next steps that you'll want to do between now and the application deadline, make sure that you add classes@codethedream.org to your contacts list in the email that you provided with us. So that way you hopefully won't have any communications from us filtered into your spam or trash. But in the event that even that doesn't work for whatever your email filters that might be in place, then on or before March 17th, go ahead and complete your application. That comes after that very short application request that just verifies your location and your age to be able to be involved in the program. The pre-work instructions will be emailed as soon as you've completed the application, which, as Ashley mentioned earlier, takes about 8 to 10 minutes to complete the application. Read the pre-work instructions really carefully. There's a lot of information there. We've tried to make it as concise as possible, but there's just a lot of information to absorb. So read through carefully. We do have preview videos that are short, little 4 or 5 minute videos at the start. Watch those preview videos to be able to kind of get a good overview of what that pre-work assignment is. And then you can email us at classes@codethedream.org with any questions as you're working through your pre-work. On or before March 31st is when you'll want to submit that pre-work assignment that you've completed. And then throughout this process, since you get, the pre-work instructions emailed to you and that kind of a thing, then of course check your email throughout there. But definitely check your email on April 15th. That is the day when we will be sending out results for application process for anybody that applied. So definitely check your email on April 15th. If you don't see a message from us by the end of April 15th, check your spam and trash folders. If you still don't see anything, then reach out to us. Okay. I think
And then I just want to clarify one thing as well too that I forgot to mention. So we do operate in a trimester schedule. So we operate with our summer, well, coming up actually, summer 2024 classes. So March 17th is that application deadline, and then March 31st is that pre-work deadline. But we do have other trimesters such as fall 2024 and then spring 2025. And yeah, hopefully that makes a bit more sense.
Awesome. Okay. So let's dig into the pre-work information. I've seen a couple of questions pop up in the chat about the pre-work information. Yeah, the Khan Academy menu can be a little bit confusing. You do not need to cover anything on SQL in the Khan Academy tutorial at all. Only the unit that is on JavaScript drawing and animation, that's the only unit you need to do. I think after that, it moves on to HTML and CSS. You do not need to cover those topics either. So for the pre-work information, intro applicants, if you've already done your application and gotten your pre-work instructions, then that's what that Khan Academy was that we were just talking about. But it's a tutorial through Khan Academy that you'll work through just that JavaScript drawing and animations unit. And it will give you enough information to be able to build a fun little drawing or animation of your own in JavaScript. Everything that you learn in Khan Academy, you will be taught in depth in the intro class. So don't feel like, oh, I have to master this right now. No, you just have to be able to understand it well enough to be able to accomplish just the drawing and animation that we're asking of you. We don't see your process through the Khan Academy tutorial. So if you've had some exposure to code before, you can jump around to the different sections that help answer your questions and help you do what you need to do to meet the requirements of the project part of it, that drawing and animation part of it. So we don't see your progress through Khan Academy at all. So, either go through it, repeat sections if you need to, jump around to different sections if you're already familiar with stuff, that kind of a thing, then that's totally fine. For advanced applicants, you'll be building a static website. It can be single or multi-page. You'll include navigation on the page so that way you can either jump between pages if it's multi-page, or so that it re-renders your page with new information if it's a single page site. You'll include some styling features. You're welcome to use bootstrapping if you want to, but you can also just do vanilla CSS for yourself if you'd like to. And the project uses an open source API. We have about 7 or 8 different APIs that you can choose from. You'll decide which one you want to use, and then you'll use that open source API to display the data from it to the person who's interacting with your site. So for example, if you choose to use a weather API, then you'll want to build a page that shows them like the temperature and the weather conditions. Is it sunny? Is it rainy? What's the high temperature for today? Kind of a thing. So 2 data endpoints need to be demonstrated on your page for you. That hopefully gives a pretty decent overview of what the projects are. Again, the videos that are at the start of the instructions will give you a good overview, and the instructions themselves are multi-step and detailed for you. A lot of folks are wondering, like, which pre-work do I do? If you applied for the advanced classes, then you will do the advanced pre-work assignment. If you're applying for the intro class, you'll do the intro pre-work assignment. But a lot of folks aren't quite sure which one do I fit into. So a good way to kind of determine which one you would do is, do you know what an API is? If you do know what an API is, then do the attempt the advanced pre-work. If at any point during the advanced pre-work you're like, this is actually just a little over my head, I'm not sure what I'm doing, I'm not getting my code to work, give up on the advanced pre-work, that's fine. Stop what you're doing and do the intro pre-work instead and complete that. And that way we can consider you for the intro class, get you in there so that way you can fill any gaps in knowledge and then proceed to the advanced classes. If you're not sure what an API is, which is totally fine, then or you're applying for intro only, then you'll just do the intro pre-work. If you're applying for one or more of the advanced classes, you do the advanced pre-work. You must do the pre-work assignment and submit it by that March 31st deadline in order to be considered and go to the next process of this application process. If you've applied and we never get pre-work for you, you will not be considered for any of the upcoming classes. We need to be able to see that you're tackling that pre-work assignment and see what your attempt is like at it in order for us to consider whether or not our program's a good fit for you. Yeah, Medell, I'll answer your question separately. If anybody else that is on the call is an existing student, you won't use this application process to apply to your next class. We just use what your current class work is to be able to promote you into your next class with our program. Okay, class information. All of the applicants will be notified of results of their application, whether you are accepted or not, on April 15th. If the pre-work indicates that our program's not a good fit for you yet, then we'll be giving you some links as far as here are some great resources to kind of get yourself in a more comfortable position to be successful at the pre-work and apply for the next term. If you are accepted, then you'll get information about next steps for how to register for class and all of that good stuff. All of our classes have an orientation 2 weeks before the class start date. So for the intro class, that'll be about early May. And then for the advanced classes, that'll be early June. Sorry, May 6th and May 27th. I didn't even realize the dates were right in there. The orientations will be where you get to meet your cohort leaders. We go more in depth about what the tools are you're using in class, sort of what the process and protocols are for being in an online class, how to submit your homework, all of that good stuff. So we'll cover all of that information in orientation with you. And then the week before the class officially starts, you also have office hours where you can meet with myself or the cohort leader for the class just to make sure, like, do I understand everything right? Am I organized? Do I have everything that I need? Get any answers to questions that you still have. During the class, you're going to be working through lessons and assignments weekly. Our classes go Wednesday to Tuesday. During those class weeks, you can attend live mentor sessions. They'll either be group instructor sessions or one-on-one sessions. And that'll help give you a better understanding of the curriculum and get your questions answered for anything that you come up with as you're working through the coding assignments or as you're working over the lesson materials. As Ashley mentioned earlier, we are a flipped classroom model. So primarily you start digging into your lesson assignments, your sort of textbook for the class, so to speak, and cover that information first, usually, before diving into any kind of mentor sessions. But it's also fine to attend a mentor session while you're working through classwork too. I think that covers all the information on that slide. So
Yes, thank you so much, Mary Alice.
Okay.
So I can go to the frequently asked questions. So some people may ask how many people get in for our intro class. It does vary, but our latest class had 116 students. But for either the intro and advanced classes, we don't have a cap on those classes, but we really want to encourage you to make sure you're looking over your pre-work instructions and make sure you're following all the guidelines needed when you submit your assignment, as we try to accept as many applicants as those who have acceptable pre-work. All right. What happens after the class? So after you may take the intro class, you'll go and take an advanced class. And after the advanced class, you'll go on to take your practicum. Now, there are three routes you can take after the practicum. So for one, you can apply for the apprenticeship if you are interested or applicable. Also, you can start applying from intern and junior developer positions right there if you feel like you're ready. So up into our practicum, we'll teach you all the skills you need to start applying for those jobs right then and there, so that you can be able to pass technical exams. But if you do want to go back and take other advanced classes or do more practicums to build upon your skill set and make yourself more competitive in a job field, we definitely encourage that as well too. All right, so what do we look for in applicants? We definitely look for drive. So these classes aren't for those looking for a side hustle, or if you're just curious about the field or you just want a quick come up, anything like that. But we want you to actually see yourself being in the career of tech. And we can be your first step and help you to becoming a developer within a year or two. So some people do ask how long they can see themselves being in the program. And I would say between a year or two before you actually go and get that job. All right. And then frequently asked questions. So what is the cost? It is free, completely free, no pennies, no dimes, free. All right. So we have grants and the development shop that I mentioned in the beginning, the CTD Labs, as part of our organization that allows us to offer these classes completely free to students. All right. So a lot of programs that operate like ours, they have free programs, but it does come with a catch. And they may ask you to give some of your salary once you land your job as a developer back to pay for the program. But for us, we do not require that. We do not require you to pay anything back. But we do ask that once you graduate and land your job as a developer, that you either donate back time as a mentor or a volunteer to the program, or also even if you want to donate funds to help others to follow in your footsteps so that we can continue on with the free program for others. All right. So which classes should I apply for? We have these links listed on our current website. If you go to codethedream.org and you go to class info at the top in the navigation, you'll be able to see these frequently asked questions section of the site, and it'll give you more information just about our classes in general. All right, so it is time for our CTD alumni panel. So I'll stop sharing my screen actually. Let me go back to the screen. Cool. All right, so we have a few panelists on today. We have Medell and then we have Carrie. If you guys want to unmute yourselves, I'll start with Medell. But if you can tell us your name, how long you've been with Code the Dream, or some of your class experiences, we'd love to hear more from you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. Hi, y'all. I'm Adalia, she, her, Aya. I'm a current student actually in the program, the intro program. Was that your I guess topic that you want me to cover?
Yeah. If you just want to explain a little bit more about your class experiences, such as like how you time manage through the program, just some of your experience with mentors and all.
Sure. Yeah. So like I mentioned, yeah, I'm part of the intro class currently. I will admit that it keeps me busy. I am a full-time, I have a full-time job, as well as I'm a full-time caretaker for my elderly mom. And so I definitely feel since I started, it's been a wild ride. It definitely has kept me really busy. However, I'm really enjoying the support that Code the Dream has been able to develop for us who are in the program. I don't have, I had a little bit of familiarity with programming before, but it was different languages. This is the first time that I'm actually working with JavaScript. So I take advantage of all the resources that Code the Dream has. So I attend as many group sessions as I can whenever I could. I tend to schedule at least twice a week with one-on-one mentors who are amazing and awesome. Whatever you all are doing in recruiting or keeping mentors that are super generous with their time has really been, I think, instrumental in the success that I've had so far. But I will say that one of the things that allows me to manage and manage all these multiple things that I have in my life, the pre kind of like the pre-work to actually starting the class. So I think the week before I tried to map out when the mentor sessions were going to be, or at least when the group sessions were going to be. And I tried to schedule or create a roadmap for myself to ensure that I was enabling a lot of resources, or at least enabling the time that I needed in order to complete these lessons assignments. So I kind of, I mean, you're kind of expected to be busy, so that wasn't new for me. I think the first 2 weeks were just kind of getting into a groove, ensuring like I allocated time for me to complete the homework assignments, which a lot of that is over the weekend. I was very I've been very adamant about ensuring that I find balance in everything that I have to do in my daily life, so work and then also having a social life. But at the end of the day, I have been really I try my best to prioritize the work at Code the Dream, which has been working for me so far. So yeah, I would say that it's been challenging, but in a good way. And it's something that I mean, you anticipate being busy, so it wasn't a surprise for me. And one cool thing that I recently realized in my current work, a lot of the way that you're being trained to think about programming has actually helped me in my day job. I'm able to think about problems more clearly. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to become a programmer in what I'm doing in my day to day, even though I'm not in software development. And it's actually helping me be more efficient in what I do in my day to day currently. So I thought that was a really cool insight that I just gained not that long ago, since I've been in Code the Dream.
Thanks so much for sharing your experience. If you can give one piece of advice to those who may be interested in applying or not sure about applying, what would you give them?
Um, my advice to anyone who's considering or unsure if this would be like a good fit, I say just apply. Um, one of the I did extensive research before I found Code the Dream, and I was interested in figuring out if a boot camp was something that I had the investment for, or the financial investment for, and I didn't. I mean, I don't. So one of the things for me is like it's really helpful that it's a free program. It is intense. Like, I mean, it is, as I mentioned, like it keeps you busy. But even if you're not sure, or if you're curious, that's enough for you to apply. Like just that curiosity, just lean into that, and definitely you don't lose anything by applying and figuring out if this is. You can figure out if this is something that's like meant for you, or like you want to work on. But I would just advise my advice would be just apply it, even if you're a little curious. I think it's been worth it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Medell. And I would like to move on to Carrie, give you the spotlight as well too. All right. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, just talk about how long you've been in Code the Dream, and also explain some of your experiences as well too.
For sure. So hi, I'm Carrie. I've been with Code the Dream for just about a year, coming up on a year. I started with no previous experience in JavaScript. I had some CSS and HTML knowledge, but I took the intro class last spring, really enjoyed it, and then applied for the React class, which just wrapped up in February. I think these classes are great. I mean, I've learned a lot. They're set up to really help you be successful, and they provide a lot of like the on-the-job experience that you would expect to see in your day-to-day as a developer, which has been really great. I mean, I've definitely gained a lot of confidence through the program myself, and I think just the support that you get from the staff as well as the mentors that dedicate their time to helping you is just, it's been tremendously helpful for me to be successful. So yeah, I'm currently enrolled in the practicum, which is the group project at the end, which has also been pretty fun to navigate. We're in the first week, but so pretty fresh, but it's been fun to learn to navigate working with a team and how that all kind of falls into place. So yeah, I totally recommend applying. Like Medell had said, it doesn't hurt. Invest in yourself. If it doesn't work out for you at the end of the day, at least you're not out in your pocket, right? Another piece of advice that I would give is if you're stuck, even on just the pre-work, I know the pre-work can be a lot as well. Take your breaks, come back to it, and ask for help. I'm pretty bad at asking for help, so that's a major one to really work on. And if you're not comfortable like talking into the group sessions, reach out to your mentors, take your one-on-ones, and yeah, just build the community with your peers as well, because it'll help you when you do get to the practicum stage as well.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for explaining more. And I do wish you the best of luck with the practicum as well, too.
Thank you.
Yes, no worries. So I actually do want to open the floor up to any other questions that those in the audience may have, whether you have them just about Code the Dream or even for our panelists. But thank you so much, Carrie and Medell, and everyone for being here today. All right, so I guess we can look in the chat to see what questions there are as of now. Okay, so one that I see is I've received 2 pre-work applications and tests. Can I complete the introduction in JavaScript first and then move on to HTML and CSS? Mary Alice.
Yeah. The phrasing of the question confused me a little bit. I wasn't sure if that meant that they had applied twice, once for an intro class, once for an advanced class. And so you have the links for both the intro and the advanced pre-work. So if you did apply to both intro and advanced, you'll want to refer back to those questions we talked about earlier with, do you know what an API is? If yes, attempt that advanced pre-work first. If that seems to be too big of a struggle, stop working on the advanced and do the intro and submit that instead.
All right, thank you. Let's see, they said they also had a similar question. Do you need to complete the intro to JavaScript? Okay, yeah, we did talk about that a little bit more. So yes, just the training and animation part of the pre-work is all that you need. Okay, cool. Yeah, just the first unit. And I think you did answer this question from Adele, Mary Alice, about doing need to submit the pre-work again. So no, if you're already in the class, you don't have to resubmit the pre-work. Yes. And then what requirements would be used to pass the pre-work and how is it graded? So once you look at the pre-work instructions, actually, there's guidelines. So through Khan Academy, you'll do those tutorials and you'll watch those videos and learn the concepts. Once you go into the pre-work assignment to actually do the demonstration, it'll show you actually in those instructions what we're looking for, such as if you're applying for the intro class, we'll require like a variable to be in your code, a conditional, a unique function. Like it'll be listed in bullet points, and that's how we'll grade it. So just make sure you have all of those guidelines in there. Definitely use your creativity. And then that's how it's graded. So as long as you have those guidelines in there and your code runs, just make sure that it runs, you'll be good. Oh yeah, and then Carrie mentioned, and I'll read it out loud for you guys too, but he said one other thing that he forgot to mention is to try and attend as many mentor sessions as you can. They all have different teaching styles, and he found that it's helpful to attend them all to find the ones that work best for his learning style. And that's very important too, especially when you're dealing with the asynchronous environment, like a flipped learning environment, learning by yourself. You definitely want to know what your learning style is. Me, I'm such a visual person that I just need visuals. Some people are more like audio people and all. So yeah, definitely experiment. And the cool thing about our actual mentor sessions is that we do cater to all different time zones. So whether you're in the Eastern or Pacific, we have times all throughout the week for group mentor sessions. So if you can't make one session, you can make another throughout the week. And that also goes with the one-on-one appointments with your mentors as well too. All right, and that's all the questions I see as of right now. All right. So, and I'll also put the email in the chat that if you have any additional questions that you can ask. And yeah, we're really just here to see you be successful and all, So if you have any questions throughout the pre-work, and I'll definitely make sure to email us at any time. We're happy to help you with that. All right. And
For
then
those of you that, sorry, Ashley, for those of you that had the question about what units to do for the intro to programming pre-work portion, I did just want to screen share and kind of point it out so it makes it a little less confusing too. So here we are on the Khan Academy tutorial. That's part 1 of Intro to Programming pre-work assignment. And you'll do everything that's in this part of the page. So it covers animation basics and becoming a community coder, text and strings, functions, all of those kinds of things. But unit 2, unit 3, all of that stuff you will not do. So just make sure unit 1 is selected and you'll work through everything that you see on this right panel here for unit 1. It seems like it's a lot. Some of them go pretty quick though. So just start early, budget your time well, and only go through the unit 1 section. Do not move on to unit 2 or beyond. You don't need to do those.
Yeah. Unit 1 is already a lot in itself. I'm currently working on the pre-work too. So I could be able to talk about it better. And yes, just do unit 1. Please don't move on.
We'd need to give a lot more than just, 2+ weeks to be able to accomplish all of the units that Khan Academy offers.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I don't see any more questions in the chat. Definitely want to give you guys time back since it is later. So like I said, if you do have any additional questions, make sure to reach out to classes@codethedream.org. Also, I will send out the recording of this, also the slide deck. And yeah, you can always feel free to ask us questions at any time. But I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight. Hope you all have a great night. Mary Alice, did you want to add anything at all?
Nope, just another special thank you to Medell and Carrie for being able to be on the call and share the student perspective with applicants.
Thanks so much, guys. All right. Well, have a great night and have a great weekend as well, too. Take care.